What's up everyone, I'm CallumOnToast, and in today's video I'm going to be running the Sneasel evolution line in the Willpower Cup with Weavile in the lead, Sneaseler as the safe swap, and Hisuian Sneasel as the closer. Now I just want to let everyone know that this video was meant to go up yesterday, but anyone that's watched my recent videos will probably heard my mic acting up a little bit, and when I tried to record yesterday it was a lot worse. So hopefully things go a lot more smoothly today, but if not then I may need to invest in a new microphone. Anyways, I had a really up and down time with this team, going 4-1 in my first and my final sets, but only managing a single win in the 3 middle sets. And also I tried the non-shadow versions initially since they seemed better on PvPoke, but after obviously going on an awful run with just 1 win in 15 battles, I switched over to the shadows for my final set and got a little bit of redemption, getting another 4-1. Now, one of the biggest issues with this team actually came from running X-Scissor over Aerial Ace. Now, on paper, X-Scissor is just a better move. It also hits both Dark and Psychic types for super effective damage, and honestly, I hadn't really seen many fighting types in the meta a couple of days ago, but as is the case with very limited metas, you can see huge shifts from one day to the next, and I actually saw and lost to a ton of fighting types with this team, which is very unfortunate, but it's just how it goes. Anyways, with that being said, let's just get into the question of the day. What is your favorite regional form of a Pokemon? Let me know in the comment section down below, and with that being said, let's get into the battles now. I was going into the first battle, and these are actually from the final set that I did, and also I do want to mention with the Shadow Pokemon I was running Aerial Ace as coverage rather than X-Scissor, which is possibly why I did do a lot better. But either way, we safe swap into our Shadow Sneasel after seeing Annihilate in the lead. We go for close combat, grabbing a shield from the Skuntank. Unfortunately, that is a CMP tie. We are just 1 away from the next close combat, so I'm going to stay in and go for a second close combat here. I throw immediately as I'm expecting the opponent to double shield, maintain alignment there, but of course if I throw that move straight away it gives them less farm for the poison jab damage, as they're able to take me out pretty quickly. We can now come in with our Hisuian Sneasel. We could resist everything they're going to throw, assuming they're not running Flamethrower, but I do shield anyways, preserving the health here. We can now fire off an Aerial Ace. Aerial Ace will get the KO up against the Skuntank, and if they come back in, we can make it to another Aerial Ace, winning CMP up against the Annihilate. Aerial Ace gets the KO, and they've got an Umbreon in the back, and we will just barely make it to the close combat. This is a Shadow Hisuian Sneasel, so close combat does huge damage. It doesn't quite one-shot them there, and unfortunately, because we do debuff our defense, Foul Play will be taking us out, but that's okay. We still got a full health Weavile. We come in, we get the Ice Shard farm down, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to open there into next battle. We're going to see Gardevoir in the lead. So of course, not very good for us. We're going to safe swap into our Shadow Sneasler, and the opponent comes in with a Guzzlord. Now, we are very glassy. We're only making it to 1 move, so might as well full send the close combat once again. And again, that way we will give them less farm there, although unfortunately we live with like 1 HP there, so they get 1 extra Dragon Tail than what I was hoping for. And also, Homeless Henry is going to interrupt the gameplay here. I forgot to put on Do Not Disturb, so just going to swipe that notification away. We're going to just barely live the Dragon Claw there. We're now going to fire off the Avalanche. Avalanche gets the KO. We're going to swap immediately into our Shadow Sneasel, and the opponent stays in. We get the full farm down there, and they come in with a Mandibuzz. So this is looking tricky, but they're on Snarl and not Aerial Ace, which is huge for us as we go and full send the close combat, dealing huge damage. And this one I realized, actually, if we shield this, they're going to have to fire off another charge move pretty much straight away. They can't commit to a full Snarl farm down, and Weavile still has a little bit of HP remaining. So can we go for the Ice Shard farm down? Yes, we absolutely can, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's top over there into next battle. We're going to see Shadow Weavile into Morpeko. So this is a somewhat okay-ish matchup for us. We're going to shield this, of course, play it safe. The opponent is going to bait with a Psychic Fangs, which is definitely not ideal for us. They then swap into a Drapion, so I'm going straight for Avalanche here, and then I will be swapping into my Shadow Sneasel. Now, I'm going to no-shield the first charge move here. Shadow on Shadow, this will do a lot of damage, but we can live it, and they're not going to be able to Poison Sting farm me down just yet. I'm going to full send the close combat. Close combat grabs the final shield from the opponent, and it's a CMP tie, so at this point, definitely going to let the Sneasel go down. I'm going to come in with the Sneasel. I will wait out my switch clock first, and at this point again I'm thinking, should I shield this? And in the end I am not gonna shield. That actually does a lot more damage because Sneasler is incredibly attack weighted. We go for an Aerial Ace here, but if they come back in with the Morpeko, I don't think I'm gonna make it to a charge move, so I actually swap back into my Weavile. Again, I kind of have to respect the damage here, and again the opponent baits with a Psychic Fangs, which is definitely not ideal for us, but we still get the farm down anyways. They come in with a Claydol, and from a Shadow Weavile, this Avalanche is going to one-shot the Claydol, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to opponent there into the next battle. You can see Weavile into a Alola Muck. So we are going to say swap into our Sneasel once again. And if the opponent stays in here, I will outpace them to a close combat before they make it to a potential Dark Pulse. And the opponent does not respect the damage this time. We get the full-on one-shot with the close combat. They're going to come in with a Claydol. And I'm not running X's at this time, but the opponent doesn't know that. They might respect the damage, and they do. They end up using a shield, which is huge for us. One thing we do have to be wary of course, we are switch locked whilst the opponent isn't, so we do wait out the switch lock in its full. The opponent does not swap out though. They're going to go and fire off a Rock Tomb, debuffing our attack. They swap into a Shadow Drapion. I'm going straight for the Avalanche anyways. Avalanche actually connects there, and we put them into farm down range. We're going to come in with the Sneasel, of course, not going to shield this. They go for a Crunch there, and Crunch is going to do some decent damage. I do actually wait. They're giving them slightly less farm on their Claydol, hopefully. We fire off the Aerial Ace. Aerial Ace goes unshielded, the opponent recognizing there's not a lot they can do at this point, so we're able to Ice Shard, farm down the Claydol, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to opponent there, now going into the non-Shadow versions of this team, and we're going to say swap into the Sneasel, and this time because we are non-Shadow, we will actually make it to 2 charge moves, although we will only make it to 2 X-Scissors here. Not quite going to make it to a close combat. I mean, possibly we could have got damage registration error there, but I think it's very risky. We end up grabbing both shields anyway, so we're definitely going to take that. We're now going to come in with the Weavile, and I think I will shield 1 charge move. I'll let the next one go through here though. So they go for a Dragon Claw. They're going to make it to another Dragon Claw already, so of course gonna no shield this. Dragon Claw does some decent damage, and I'm gonna go and fire off a Triple Axle immediately. Triple Axle will be enough damage to get the KO. It boosts up my attack, although it doesn't really matter too much as we swap out straight away. We swap into our Sneasel and our Sneasel. We're now gonna go and full send the close combat, but close combat from a non-Shadow Sneasel isn't enough damage to get the KO there, and that is really unfortunate as Drapion gets the full farm down, and they are just barely able to make it to another Aquatail up against my Weavile. Aquatail gets the KO, and unfortunately we do lose that game. But GG's to opponent there into the next battle. We're going to see a Shadow Drapion in the lead. So we're going to say swap into our Shadow Sneasel, and the opponent swaps into a Mandibuzz. But again, it is a Snarl Mandibuzz, so I'm actually okay with tanking 1 charge move here. Unfortunately, up against a Sneasel, it will put us into Snarl farm down range, which is definitely not ideal for us. But we do tank it, and now we can go and full send the close combat. But again, a non-Shadow, so this actually will not be enough damage to get the KO. But I do get damage registration error this time around. I'm able to make it to the X-Scissor. X-Scissor grabs a shield advantage, which is absolutely huge for us. Now we're going to come in with the Weavile. The opponent goes for a Dark Pulse for some reason. I don't really understand that play. We're now going to swap into our Sneasel, catch the Aquatail, and the opponent's going to stay in with their Shadow Drapion. We're going to shield up the next Aquatail there, and the opponent is still staying in with the Drapion. We're going to fire for an X-Scissor, throwing on the CMP tie. An X-Scissor is going to be no-shielded. It gets the KO there. And let's see, the opponent's going to come in with a Claydol, and we are not able to make it to the X-Scissor there. Honestly, things are not looking good for us, but I realize we've got one very awkward win condition here, and that's if the opponent tries to swap back into Mandibuzz, and they do exactly that. And now we come out with back-to-back charge moves, but I still need to live the Mud Slap damage, and we barely hang on with 1 HP and a Dream Weaver, making it to the Avalanche. Avalanche gets the KO, and I'm just barely able to take that game. So GG's up over there into next battle. We're going to see Mandibuzz in the lead. So this was kind of what I was thinking about this team. Like, Weavile is going to be pretty good into both Claydol and Mandibuzz, which in my opinion have been the 2 most common leads that I've seen. It's just unfortunate that I'm not able to maintain alignment every single time, because Shadow Drapion is just such a very effective say swap here, because ahead on energy, unfortunately, I don't win this matchup here unless we do like go down shields. But either way, we go for an X-Scissor. X-Scissor does get the KO. They come back in with the Mandibuzz, and I will make it to a close combat. So not the worst thing ever. Close combat, gonna do some respectable damage. And we're gonna come back in with the Weavile here, although the opponent does have a decent amount of energy. They will outpace us to that first charge move. So of course, gonna no shield, it's just the Aerial Ace, and they swap into their Quillfish. So I'm gonna fire for charge move here. Honestly, I should just go for Avalanche because I'm gonna swap out anyway, so didn't really make sense going for Triple Axle there. But either way, we're gonna come in with our Sneasel. I'm gonna no shield the first move as they go for an Aquatail. We're then gonna go and fire off an X-Scissor, and X-Scissor will do some decent damage here. The opponent actually no shields that, and at this point I'm thinking, I can't really shield this, because if I do shield this, if I take out that Quillfish, of course Mandibuzz comes in and fires me down. So instead, I'm going to get ahead on energy, come in with my Weavile, but actually the Mandibuzz is a lot healthier than I remembered it being. So unfortunately, we're not going to get that Ice Shard farm down. We go for a triple axle here, hoping to boost up the attack, but they're already at the charge move. And of course, Aerial Ace takes out the Weavile, and unfortunately, we do lose that game. But GG to opponent there, into next battle, another Mandibuzz in the lead. So once again, pretty good for us here, but the opponent is choosing to stay in this time. We're going to go and fire off a triple axle immediately. Honestly, maybe not the best play for us. We're going to no shield here, of course. Aerial Ace not going to do too much damage. I don't think I can go for a full farm down, but the opponent actually swaps into Shadow Drapion. And again, I just stay in for way too long here. Now the opponent's actually going to be able to make it to back-to-back Aqua Tails just as we're reaching the next charge, or our first charge move actually. So definitely not ideal for us. I can again over farm here, knowing we win CMP and fire off an X-Scissor, but definitely still not ideal for us. X-Scissor is going to be no shielded by the opponent, and they come back in with the Mandibuzz. We're going straight for the X-Scissor here as they are fairly low. X-Scissor gets the KO, and they've got a Quillfish in the back once again. So a fairly common team, and at least on paper, my team should be beating this team here, but you can see, like, we are struggling quite a bit. I'm going to no-shield this. They're probably just going to spam Aqua Tails. But no, it's the Ice Beam. Ice Beam actually puts us into perfect farm down range, so we don't even make it to the X-Scissor, and that is costly for us. Unfortunately, we have no energy on our Sneasel. At this point, I kind of have to shield this because I need to make it to charge moves on both Pokemon, but it's just not going to happen. We can go and fire off the X-Scissor, grab the final shield from the opponent, but we're still 2 Ice Shards away from the next charge move. I was hoping maybe the opponent would throw on CMP when I fired off the X-Scissor, but they're way smarter than that. They overfarm there, they come out with another Aqua Tail all ready to throw into our Sneasel, and unfortunately we do lose that game. So GG to opponent there, into next battle, another Mandibuzz in the lead. Let's see if we play this any differently. The opponent is choosing to stay in here, and this time I'm not going to bother throwing a charge move straight away. One thing as well I will say, triple axle almost felt like it was holding me back here just because I kept on going for triple axles instead of avalanches, and opponents were just no shield. Luckily for me though, because we overfarmed there, we did actually put them into triple axle range, but we now go for an avalanche, grab a shield from the Shadow Gardevoir, and we actually swap into our Sneasel this time around, and it kind of works out for us as now we're going to full send the close combat, and the opponent does not respect the damage, and up against a Shadow Drapion, it does get the KO. We get the Poison Jab farm down, and I'm able to take that game. So GG to opponent there, into next battle, going to see a Shadow Drapion in the lead. So going to say swap, well actually no, the opponent's going to swap into their Primeape straight away, so a little bit slow for us to swap out there. But either way, going to no-shield the first charge move, and Primeape is a little bit tricky for us. Well actually, it's very tricky for us. But either way, going to go and fire off the X-Scissor, and again, X-Scissor unfortunately is going to be resisted damage. It grabs the shield anyways. At this point, I can't really afford to shield this because yeah, I could shield, make it to another charge move, and possibly get the KO, but it's very likely that Primeape is just going to double shield in that matchup. So instead, what we're going to do is come in with our Sneasel, go for the one shield farm down, and we will get that farm down before they make it to the next Rage Fist. They come back in with Shadow Drapion, and we are going straight for the close combat here. Close combat just barely doesn't get the KO, and we swap straight away, and they've got another fighting type in the form of Shadow Poliwrath. And again, we're not running Aerial Ace here, so definitely not ideal for us. X-Scissor does grab that final shield, though, from the opponent, but it just doesn't really matter here. Drapion, I do believe, has a charge move already loaded. We can just about make it to a close combat, and despite the fact that we're debuffed, this will get the KO up against the Poliwrath, but of course, an Aqua Tail from this range will certainly be taking out the Sneasel, and unfortunately, we do lose that game. So GG to opponent there, into next battle, you can see Greninja in the lead. So of course, gonna say swap into our Shadow Sneasler, and we're basing out a Shadow Gardevoir, which honestly isn't the worst thing ever. We're gonna grab a shield advantage, and we will put them into a range where we can Poison Jab farm them down before they even make it to a triple axle. So honestly, not worst case scenario, as we can come in, get that Poison Jab farm down, and let's see what the opponent wants to do. They're going to come back in with the Greninja, and they're going to throw a charge move straight away. So we don't throw immediately here. This does give us an extra Poison Jab in for free, and they go for a Night Slash. So if they go for one more Water Shuriken and then throw the next charge move, I will know that's just going to be another Night Slash. So I can actually afford to no-shield this, which I do. We're going to go for an Exeter, and very good from the opponent. They're expecting the charge move to be thrown straight away. So they swap, they catch it onto Drapion, but all shields are down. Now here's the thing, they actually farmed up to a potential Sludge Bomb, and it is the Sludge Bomb, so huge shield there. We're now going to overfarm just a little bit, go for the triple axle, and they should still be 3 away from a Hydro Cannon on the Greninja, or sorry, actually 2 away, but it doesn't matter. We're able to make it to the Avalanche. Avalanche gets the KO, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's up there into next battle. You can see Weavile into a Galarian Moltres, so a very good matchup for us, although they will actually just barely outpace us to the first charge move. That's okay with us. We're going to shield this, and then I think I should probably overfarm here, but I'm thinking if they do shield this, I'd probably prefer to boost up my attack straight away, but the opponent lets that go through, and they come in with a Claydol, so they are double weak to the Weavile. But this is the issue with Weavile, it's just not tanky enough to actually take advantage of that, as they do get the Mudslap farm down, and this is really not a good position to be in. Of course, we are, well, both Pokemon in the back are incredibly weak to the ground typing. We're going to swap there, basically just forcing them to throw their next charge move straight away, and I should still be able to get a Shadow Claw farm down with the Sneasel, but the opponent does swap out there. My only win condition is if the opponent calls a bait, so we full send the close combat, and unfortunately it gets shielded by the Shadow Drapion. You can see we didn't make it to another charge move anyways. Aquatail gets the KO, and unfortunately we do lose that game. So GG's up in there into next battle. You can see a Krokorok in the lead here. The opponent's going to say swap into their Hatterini, and we're going to come in with the Poison Jab Sneasel, and we get a full farm down. Now if they come back in with the Krokorok, I'm just going to blind throw a close combat here. I'm not certain if I would actually live one Mudslap from that range, so we go for it straight away. The opponent actually no shields. They come in with the Shadow Gardevoir, and I'm actually running Poison Jab on the Sneasel for this battle because I felt like the Shadow Claw wasn't really helping me, and it comes in clutch for us as we get the Poison Jab farm down, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's up there into next battle, and this is kind of the flip side of running the Poison Jab as a fast move on my Sneasel, is that up against the Claydol, for example, it becomes very difficult to deal with, and especially since the opponent's running Claydol and Mandibuzz. Again, Weavile, whilst it beats both of those Pokemon individually, it just can't take both of them out together when they're on the same team, and they actually come back in with the Claydol there. We get them incredibly low. Somehow we don't get off the extra Ice Shard though, which is very frustrating because this is just not a comfortable Poison Jab farm down. We come in with the Sneasel, the opponent goes to Scorching Sands, and they swap into Shadow Drapion. Now, of course, if we're running Shadow Claw, we're slightly faster to make it to the charge moves, and as well, just not ideal up against that Claydol whatsoever. We're going to no-shield that, going to come in with our Hisuian Sneasel, and I'm going to have to shield this up here, because what I can't do is get too low on my Sneasel to the point where they can just Mudslap farm down the rest of my team with their Claydol. So now I'm going to fire off the Exeter. Exeter gets the KO, they come back in with the Claydol, and they do make it to a charge move, which definitely is not ideal for us. Scorching Sands gets the KO, and you can see we could have taken them out if we were running Shadow Claw, but unfortunately resisted Poison Jab, don't get the KO there, and we get farmed down with the Mudslaps. So that's going to be it for today's video. If you did enjoy it, please make sure you leave a like, leave a comment letting me know, and as well, don't forget to respond to the question of the day if you haven't done so already. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications. That way you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. And if you want to take your support even further, you can now become a channel member with perks including early access to new videos, shoutouts at the end of each video, custom loyalty badges, and custom emojis to use in the comments. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone that has already become a channel member. Your support is greatly appreciated, and with that being said, thank you all so much for watching today's video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.